Hello, my name is Toni Gayle. I am the host of the Healing Collective Live, and I have with me today Candy Boyce, and I'm so excited that she is even willing to do a re-record. Candy, how are you doing? How's it going? What is new with you?
Doing great. Just continue to work on resetting and getting and putting myself first and focusing on reclaiming who I am.
What brought you to, or how did Infinite Steps come about?
So Infinite Steps came about because over about a year ago, I went through a moment where I was not taking care of myself. I was getting sick and I had to start focusing on taking care of me. But I did not know how to do it. I thought I was taking care of myself, doing but I was also taking care of everybody else and putting them before me. But once I got sick and the doctor told me, hey, you need to focus on you. It was like I am, trying to differentiate between what's taking care of me and taking care of someone else. And I finally broke and decided, you know what, I have to do this. So Infinitely Molding Me came about because I had to start focusing on me, molding me into the person that I need to be. Because if I want things to be right with me in all areas, I had to take care of me first. So that's how it came about.
Wow. So in this process, you keep saying taking care of me. I heard someone else say that you have to be your own superhero. Do you agree with that statement?
Completely agree with that statement because when I say taking care of me, there were things that I was not doing that I should have been doing. I wasn't taking care of myself physically. I wasn't taking care of my emotional state mentally. I had gained a lot of weight, so I wasn't taking care of myself physically as either. So once I realized that I had to do what I needed to do, and I had not been doing those things that I normally would do. That's when I went in and I started focusing on taking care of me and doing what I needed to do to be a better me. So when I say infinitely molding me, it's a journey. It's not a one step process. It happens over time. And each and every day, I'm discovering something new. And it's all about, what can I do each day to intentionally take care of me because it's an infinite process.
Infinite process, and hence the name Infinite Step.
Infinitely
Hey,
molding me.
it right, infinitely molded me. Now, have you gotten any pushback? Because in my conversation with different women, I've heard them when they begin to look at taking care of themselves, it's always some pushback, or they get the phrase, "You're being selfish." Have you noticed any pushback now that you're taking care of yourself versus trying to take care of everyone else?
It's an understand once it's under what's understood
Mm-hmm.
is key. You got to make sure they understand. Because whether I'm at work or whether it's a personal thing, I take a step back. And once they understand the why behind it all, and a lot of people knew my why, they knew what I had been going through. They knew I decided to share what I had been going through. They understood why I was not doing some of the things that I was doing. And as far as having to pushback, I wouldn't say I necessarily had pushback. I would say that it was more of an understanding and actually others deciding to walk on that journey with me because they were
Mm.
going through the same thing, but they did not know how. Because when I was a part of one thing that I did was I started separating myself from people. And when they would try and reach out to me, I found an excuse as to why I couldn't do it. And
Mm-hmm.
then they was like, no, we're not doing this because they knew it wasn't me. So
Okay.
once they
Okay.
started, I started explaining things to them and they understood. It was like, okay, what are we doing? And they actually was like, okay, we need to do more of this because, and they started telling a part of what they've been going through and how it's helped them. So I wouldn't say I received pushback or anything. It's
Good.
about they've learned to respect those boundaries that that I put up.
Okay, so what are the healing steps that you've been doing so far? Other than, you said you separated yourself and you focused on you. Specifically, do you have any healing rituals that you do?
So the first thing that I actually did, because I had to one recognize that I did have a problem that I had to
Mhm.
address.
Oh, that's good.
Um,
I'm gonna come back to that.
so I had to recognize it. So I did go to therapy first, and I did seek therapy, and I started therapy. I went through that, and once I recognized that, it was like, okay, you have to continue this. But then I started, I joined. I was separating myself spiritually. So then it was like, okay, I need to get back to church and start doing the things that I used to do. So
Hmm.
I was going to church, but not actively participating. So I joined a smaller group at the church so I can be more involved. I started exercising more to take care of me physically, because it was, looking at myself, I did not like what I see. And that was a part of that was impacting my health. Mentally, I have a calendar. So I started doing small little things each and every day. So it was not uncommon for me to tell my family, I'm going away this weekend. And my going
Okay.
away was, I was just going to check into a hotel for the weekend. That was
Okay.
it. And it was me all by myself, nobody else. I would leave the house and I would go sit in midday. I would go sit at Panera Bread. I would go do work at Panera, sit in Panera Bread and read. I would go to a restaurant and read. I would go to a library. I would go to a park. So it was just like little small things. It was like, oh, this peaceful things that I didn't recognize that was actually bringing me peace.
And you talk about the recognition, actually recognizing that there is a problem. Because was it because things just became too overwhelming that, because
Yes.
sometimes we'll
Mm-hmm.
go and we'll keep going until we cannot go, you know? And if we don't
Yep.
have that awareness, then we don't recognize it. And even when we heal, sometimes we'll go back to those same patterns, those same habits.
Say for me, it was, I have some close friends that we would go out every single month. But I noticed that her birthday, I was not, that particular weekend, I was actually sick, so I couldn't go. But when I would text her and have send a text message. We would talk on the phone, but we hadn't been out in a while, and it had been 6, 7 months before I had been out with them, and that was not the norm for us. And we couldn't use that excuse that life was happening. No, something
Right.
happened that caused me to, why can't I spend, we go out once a month for 2 hours? That's it.
Right.
That's a lot.
Right.
No.
Right. Mm-mm.
So once I recognized that, I opened up to her that something was wrong. I would go to work, come home, go into bed, and didn't want to move. My
Mhm.
husband would leave and go to work on the weekend, and he would come home and find me still in bed on the weekend. And he left 9 o'clock in the morning, returned 9 o'clock at night, and I'm still in the same spot. And after him telling me that several times, it's like, um, I found myself crying for no reason. I was extremely sensitive, not knowing why I was crying at all. Things that wouldn't normally bother me, it was actually bothering me. So I found
Mhm.
myself being extremely sensitive to a lot of things that were being done, things that may have been said, taking things personally when it had, honestly, it never should have impacted me at all, really, but it did, regardless of what it was. So once I did that, once I saw that something was wrong there, the biggest kicker for me that really told me that I needed to seek help and that I did have a problem, and I'm just gonna call it like it is.
Thank
There's
you.
different types of therapy.
Right.
There's different types of therapy. You can go to therapy to talk to somebody like I'm in now, or you can go to medication therapy. I've always suffered with anxiety. So, but it was always controlled. My doctor would give me a 30-day prescription of prescription, and that prescription could last me 3, 4 months, 3, 4, 5 months, because I only took it when I needed it. But when I ran out, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't run out of this medicine. The prescription normally expires before I run out. It was like,
Wow.
you're taking it too much. So it was then that I was like, no, you got a problem because you don't take this medication like that. So
Mhm.
I knew it was a problem, but I didn't even realize I was doing it. So I was taking it just so I can relax myself, not I was having severe anxiety and I was having like moderate depression. So I was masking my symptoms. So once I
Mhm.
realized that, it was like, no, I had to change. I had to
Okay.
change.
It was impacting your health and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. And I know you
Yeah.
mentioned before about was it a heart attack that you had, or
Yes.
okay, was
In,
this
two,
previous to what took
in
place?
2018. In
Okay.
2018, I had 2 heart attacks. And and I had them 2 weeks apart. So I always had to manage my stress level anyway because of that. Um, so fast forward to the now or the then last year,
Mhm.
um, fast forward to that time, I was having heartburn. Well, the hospital was saying it was heartburn, but I was having chest pains. And I would go to the doctor in the hospital and I'm like, something's not right. And they're like, oh, it's just heartburn. I'm like, this is not heartburn. This is not heartburn. You can't tell me it's heartburn. And I would go to my cardiologist and he would say, you're stressed. And then last year, after taking stress tests and this test, blood work, he kept saying, I can't find anything wrong, but if you're still having these symptoms, we have to go in. So when he went in and did a cardio cath and came back and said, there's no blockage. I'm like,
Wow.
so what's the problem? He was like, you need to you're not managing your stress. He said, you're stressed. You need to do something about your stress level. And I kept telling him, I'm not stressed. I don't know what the problem is. I'm not stressed about it. And I just didn't know it because I was masking the problem. So that was the thing for me, going back and forth to the doctor more than I normally would go. The medication, the crying spells, all of that compound together, I was functioning, but it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
I like that you mentioned that you had a support group at that time as well as now. How involved are you with your support group? And I think you even mentioned that you have this, you're planning to launch. Talk a little bit about that.
So I actually did my launch for Infinitely Molding Me for my birthday. So my birthday was March 5th, but I set a goal once it was like March 8th, I'm coming out. It's going to be me. It's all about me. I'm launching my business. I'm going to start promoting. I'm going to put myself out there. So I did launch on March 8th and put myself out there. And I actually spoke my truth at my birthday. Yes, we came to party, but at the same time, no, this is about, I intentionally planned my birthday in a seminar type format where I had speakers to come and talk about those things that I dealt with. Somebody that's going to talk about that physical well-being, somebody that's going to come talk about spiritual, emotional, and mental well-being. So I had speakers to talk about about those pillars. And then once they spoke about those, then we went into a creative activity where we created mosaic art. And the whole purpose of that is for you to find that one thing, that affirmation that's going to inspire you. You're going to create this image for your mosaic art that's going to represent you, that's going to be a reminder that you need to prioritize yourself. So we created mosaic art, which was beautiful. And it basically meant broken pieces, because I was broken. Broken pieces make beautiful works of art. So I put it out there, more people was like, I can't believe you're doing this. I'm following you. I still have more people now telling me that, it was like, you've really inspired me to take care of this, inspired me to do that. So that's comforting to know that while it wasn't my traditional birthday, it was impactful and they took something away from it and they're applying it.
You know what, Candy? Yours was the first non-traditional birthday that I've ever gone to. I am so serious. And it was so involved. It was so creative. So when you say non-traditional, I'm like, well, what's your traditional birthday? Because the one we went to where we made the floral arrangements, it was
Yes.
it was so fun. And it was just different than anything that I'd gone to for a birthday party. Usually, you have the food, people mingle, and if you drink alcohol, you have alcohol there. So that's the birthday parties that I've gone to. So I've never gone to one where it was actually things to do, hung out and it was just fun. So when you say non-traditional, I'm like, what's your traditional birthday?
It should have been a sign then, because if you remember, I made all of you guys aprons and it had like that
Yes.
sunflower positive quote on it. So it should have been like a sign then, like that's your calling. It wasn't at the time. But it's like, okay, you should have been just like you focused on everybody else. You focusing on yourself, but you're still giving back. And that was a lot of
Mhm.
from this birthday and from the launch. That's what a lot of people were saying. I've never been to a birthday party where I left with more than what I came with.
Yes, that too. Yes, I left with this beautiful floral arrangement and an apron. I'm like, okay, this is the type of birthday party that I want to throw for myself. I don't want to do the usual mingling and
Yeah.
drinking and all of that. No,
Hands on.
Yes, yes, yes. So the mosaic, I like how you said we're like broken pieces being put together. What was the response at the birthday party? Because that just, even thinking about it, it's like, wow, that sounds so interesting.
It was positive. It
Okay.
was extremely positive. I didn't want to, I couldn't find anyone to come in and show somebody how to
Mm-hmm.
create the mosaic art, but I also wanted it to be unique to you, being that it wasn't about, I want, because I love sunflowers and butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I'm not going to have you come in and create a sunflower and butterfly because that may not represent you. So
Right.
how can I be creative with this, something small enough where you can do it yourself? So I bought all the mosaic tile pieces and I was like, no, just create an image that whatever image comes to your mind, and whatever comes to your mind, put your pieces down that represent you and in the colors you want, design it however you want. So they created their design. I did a lot of the prep work as far as the boards ahead of time, as far as painting the
Okay.
board so the tiles can stick. But they came in and they put their pieces down on there. They grouted it. They had to grout. They had to glue it down, grout it
Mm-hmm.
up,
Mm-hmm.
clean it up, and they ended up with their boards and write their positive affirmations on it. They had to, when they came in, they had to write 2 affirmations, one to me, one
Mm-hmm.
message to me. Like normally you may have a birthday card or you may have
Right.
somebody sign a guest book. So I had little octagon towel pieces,
Mm-hmm.
hexagons, they're 6 sided hexagon towel pieces. So you
Uh-huh.
had to write a message to me on there, well wish to me for my birthday or whatever on there, which I used to make my mosaic art. And then you had one for
Wow.
yourself where you can write your own positive affirmation to put on your board. And it's your reminder, this is what's important to you. This represents you. And that's what I wanted.
Okay. So now that was for your birthday, and you
Mhm.
talked about how you're going to do more. Will what you're planning to do, will it include more of those type of gatherings where it's hands-on and then people get a chance? Can you talk about that?
So I'm going to be planning another retreat type thing in the future. So I'll be planning that, but everything will end up being hands-on. I want to say it was it was Thanksgiving. Like I had a Thanksgiving gathering at my house, and they thought they were just coming to, we were just coming to relax and Friendsgiving or whatever. But when they
Right.
came, we made gratitude jars. I bought the jars. Let's paint these gratitude jars. Put a note of gratitudes in there, like things you're grateful for, things you're thankful for. Put it in there, and every day you add to it because we don't give ourselves enough credit. We don't say what we're
Right.
thankful for. We're grateful for a lot of things, but when it comes to us, we don't recognize those things.
Yeah.
We don't give ourselves credit for that. So we made the gratitude jars, but I'm going to be planning something in the future, another type of activity where we're going to do something else.
Mhm.
I mean, this one got away from us. I mentioned it, but it got away from us. But for Mother's Day, had time allowed, we were going to do a perfume exchange. So we were going
Okay.
to meet up at a restaurant and then have play like White Elephant and have a perfume exchange with
Mhm.
mothers and the women just to celebrate us, you
Mhm.
know, as women and as mothers or whatever. But the time got away from us, so I wasn't able to put it together in time. But it's small things that may seem insignificant to some. It's positive and
Okay.
it does come back to you and you like appreciate what you're doing.
Right.
So I will have
No,
some of those coming up again.
it's not insignificant. I think it's impactful what you're doing. And even what you sent to me,
Mm-hmm.
the infinitely molding me calendar, I think it's impactful, is good, it's helpful. And if you could share some of that with some of the viewers about how
Mm-hmm.
even this came about.
So as I said before, I used to Remember, I just said I would take a day for myself. I would go sit read a book. I would go to a restaurant, take myself out, solo lunch for myself. But I started doing small things just for me. I sent the calendar out. I think I started sending you guys the small calendar, the digital calendar, like one page, like like September or October of last year. While it was only intended for that particular month initially, it was like I did it, and then it was like the following month I was like, let me do it again, and I did it, and then I started getting messages. Are you sending the calendar out again this month? I was like, oh, wait a minute.
They were looking for it. We were looking for it.
So they were looking for the calendar. So that was the first clue for me that people were actually using it. It was beneficial to not just me, but other people as well. So fast forward to like, I want to say December, I was like, why don't you just go ahead and do the calendar for the whole year? So I started working on building the calendar for the year. And I was like, I'm going to just go ahead and send it out for printing. And that way everybody can have their hard copy of the calendar. So when I went through that, it was like, what am I going to focus on each month for that calendar? So I ended up coming up with ideas of, okay, this month we can focus on this. We need to focus on self-care. We need to focus on understanding. We need to focus on confidence, empowerment, because that's what it's all about. What are the main topics? And then I came up with activities that you can do each and every day that doesn't take much to take care of yourself.
Okay.
But a part of that process is I did a lot of reading, which was helpful to me. So I included that piece in there. That's why it says the book of the month. What book are you reading? And it doesn't have to be spiritual. It doesn't have to be, it can be whatever it is. Read a book. Just read a book that you want to read that month, and then list those things that you're grateful for.
Turn the TV off.
Like just read something. It doesn't matter what it is, but focus on a book. So I've been reading a lot of professional, personal books, growth books, and a lot of things that help me. Those things, regardless of what it was, is what helped me to get where I am today. So it's, as you see in the calendar, it's self-care. What's your self-care date? What day you gonna stop and take care of you? It doesn't matter what day it is. You pick that day that's going to work for you. And just like you set any other appointment, you set that appointment, and don't let anybody change that date. So it gets on my calendar, and I don't budge. I don't give in to any of that. During the month, Wellness Wednesdays are my days. So I normally don't do anything on a Wednesday. You can't ask me to go anywhere. You can't ask me to do anything. It doesn't matter. I'm not touching Wednesdays, because Wednesdays are my wellness days where I take care and focus only on me. All those other appointments, you got a doctor's appointment, it won't happen on a Wednesday, because that's my day. That's my day to relax and just focus on me. I don't want to have any other obligations that day. So just finding that day that you can say, I'm going to spend an hour, 2 hours just to focus on me, and keep holding yourself to it. You're prioritizing yourself and making yourself a priority for that day. And then what's your top preservations for the month? So what are you going to focus on that month? And what are those small incremental goals that you're going to do in order to achieve it? And then the goal is try and accomplish at least 70% of it, 75%. You set your goal, but you can play bingo with it. You can go in order, because everything don't work for everybody. So you find that day that works for you. If you have to repeat, you repeat it. But as long as you do something for you each and every day, that's what's more important.
Do you have an accountability type circle? Or
yes, I have a group of women that I work with, and we pretty much hold each other accountable all the time. We send messages to each other, affirmations to each other. We're constantly in communication with each other, whether it's daily, it doesn't matter. Like, we're constantly sending messages. We see something good, okay, I'm gonna share this with you, and it's just a few words. That's it. It doesn't take much. I actually have a couple groups where I have one, working on the business side. I have accountability group, which keeps me grounded and keeps me moving with this, and, clearing that mindset of, oh my gosh, what I can and cannot do, get rid of those negative thoughts. I have my exercise group at church that I still work, exercise group that I deal with. I have those group of people that I work with, every day. One of them, she already knows, like, there's people that I work with that the little things they did kept me going. So, and I've revealed that to them. So now they keep it up. So it's like every day they already know, she already knows, I got to go find Miss Boyce because I got to go get her my hug this morning. You know, I'm coming looking for you and you looking for me.
Yes, yes.
You know, and people that, you know, that send me text messages, send that positive, encouraging text message or word each day. And those are the little things that keep you going. You don't have to say a whole lot, but those little things that other people do hold you accountable for what you're trying to accomplish. It helps you achieve your purpose.
I just love how you basically, it's a mental health advocate type calendar. That's what I would
Mhm.
call it. That, it's about you taking care of your mental health, doing those things that's going to help you to think positively
Mhm.
and to act and move positively. It's amazing how often we get into the habit of doing for others that we forget to do for ourselves. So this
Yes.
calendar, for me, I can just speak for myself, the calendar kind of holds me accountable and say, you
Yeah.
know what? Take a break. You've done enough for somebody else. Focus on you. Say good. Write
Yeah.
yourself a note.
And you know, and it's funny, like even when I have those in there because I had a lot, and while I was in therapy, she would tell me, have you wrote down anything? I'm like,
Mhm.
huh? I was journaling, but I wasn't journaling. I was just journaling, summarizing what I was reading, and I might have applied some things like, but I don't think I ever wrote that much about it. But then she would ask me, she was like, she was like, write down something positive about yourself. But because you're so used to complimenting other people and saying, oh, good job, you don't give yourself enough credit. And I was having a hard time. She'll be like, and she would ask me, she was like, well, did you do this? I was like, yeah. She was like, did you write it down? And I'm like, no. Because you know, you do things, you don't think twice about it. But it's you are impactful. You have done something that's worthy, and is trying to recognize those small things. So it was like a time when she was like, write yourself a note for this, write yourself a note for that. So I did start doing a lot of journaling, future self. What do I see today? What happened today? And reflecting on what happened and what I did that was positive. Because we'll think of those negative things that happen and second guess ourselves all day. But
All
when it
day.
comes to that something positive, we're like, oh, well, we don't think about it because it may be something that comes natural to us that we don't think about it as being impactful or a good thing. So that's been a change for me, and that's something I will admit that's something I'm still working on, recognizing the good that I do, and not just taking it for granted that, oh well, everybody does that. You know, everybody
No,
does not do it.
Candy. Everybody does not have a birthday party where they do activities. No. And make mosaic. No. Everyone is not just as creative as you are. No.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Yeah.
What's next for you now that you are in this healing space? You're helping other people to heal. What's next?
So I'm expanding. Infinitely Molded Me started pretty much with the calendar and a few other things. Right now, I'm getting ready to do a webinar, getting ready to do a reset webinar. And then from the reset webinar, I have a self-paced course that will be launching on June 17th. Because one of the things that I did recognize was that, like me, even though I did go, and I still go, some people don't, we as women sometimes, we know we may recognize that we have a problem, but we don't want to seek help because of the stigma that may be attached to it. And we don't want to be in that judgment zone. We don't want anybody judging us for how we think. We may not want to reveal everything, but one thing I do know is that we are good self-reflectors. Where we can, if someone says something, we're like, oh yeah, they're stepping on my toes. And we can apply it that way. So one of the things that I decided I was going to do was create a self-paced course using a lot of the strategies that I use to get through. And in that self-paced course, it will be a lot of application, like, okay, think about this, giving you some tools, but ultimately I want you to apply it, but you're in a safe zone because it's a self-paced course. So you're pretty much able to go through it and apply it on your own. Via email, I'm there. Via the community, once I put the community out, you can share your thoughts, but I want to make sure that the
That's what I was
space
going to
is
ask
safe
about that.
where you can share and know that you can share without being judged and getting that positive feedback, because I'm not going to have the negativity of, you should have done this. No, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing that, because I see a lot of that on Facebook where women are genuinely asking for help. They just don't know how to word it, and then they're judged for how they word it. And I'm sitting there like, that's not what they asked for, you know? And it's like, no wonder people don't want to share. You're giving them advice. I'm going to necessarily give you advice on how to solve your problem because you're living that life. That's your life. And I know you may have left out some details that could shape the right response that's actually going to help you. But it can be that safe space, that healing space where you can say what you want to say and get that word of encouragement. And that's the space that I want to create. One where you can be encouraged regardless of what it is, that you can make the right decisions because you know all the pieces, but we can kind of like give you that encouragement, let you know that you can do it. So so for me, it's going to be the reset webinar that I'll be hosting. It's reset. Reset. And reset is the R stands for recognizing what's not working. You got to recognize what's not working. Where do you see yourself? What's going wrong? What are you resistant to? The E stands for evaluating your emotional state. Where are you at emotionally? How is that impacting what you're doing? Are you overwhelmed? Are you restless? One of the things that my therapist said to me, and I read it in a book, it was confirmation, was a lot of times we always ask people, how you doing?
Yes.
And they say, oh, I'm fine. And they keep going. And you keep going, oh, I'm good too. But the question should be, what are you feeling?
What are you feeling?
Because if you ask them, what am I feeling? They may give you a whole lot that is really expressing how they're truly feeling. And how can you help them? So knowing your emotional state, and then the S is setting those boundaries. Like, what boundaries can you put up that doesn't show that you're being selfish? You got to know that you can put boundaries up and you can say no without necessarily saying no. They want you to do something. No, it does. They want you to do something at that moment. I can't do that right now. I'm not that I can't do it, but it's going to be done on my own time. Your emergency, your situation does not constitute an emergency on my part. So making sure that it's not that I can't do it. If I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. But at the same time, setting those boundaries to do things at the right time. And then the other E is for yourself, into engaging in intentional self-care, which is the calendar pretty much. How are you going to take care of yourself? And then what's your next steps? The T is time. What's your next steps? What steps are you going to take care of yourself? So from the reset webinar, then we go into the self-paced course where to guide you, and it's an 8-week self-paced course, and it follows the infinite time frame to help guide you along, to lead you to understanding, recognizing yourself, and that is going to encompass, the 8-week course encompasses the 3 parts of another of the other courses I'll be creating, because it's all about empower, evolve, and emerge. Let me empower you. Let's evolve inside, just like that butterfly, that cocoon, and then you emerge as a beautiful butterfly. So the other 3 courses after that will follow those 2. So you have the infinite, empower, emerge, evolve, and emerge. And those will be the 4 self-paced courses that I have out in addition to the reset. So those will be the courses that I have available by the end of all of them will be released by the end of the year.
And where could the listeners find this? What's the website? And you can speak it out, but I'm going to also put it on my website as well.
www.infinitelymoldingme.com. Infinitelymoldingme.com. And there's a website, there's Instagram, and there's Facebook.
Okay. Infinitely molding me.
Molding.
What would you like to leave the listeners, viewers with? One positive something.
If I was to leave the viewers with anything, it will be, you have to put yourself first. Put yourself first. And there's nothing wrong with doing so. Being able to recognize your strengths and recognize and acknowledge your weaknesses, and looking at what you can do to address those weaknesses. Knowing that nothing happens overnight. It's all a journey, step by step, which is infinite steps, which is the umbrella brand for Infinitely Molding Me. It's all about infinite steps, taking those infinite steps to get where you need to be. I've been in this for over a year now, and I'm not done yet. I got a long way to go, but I'm not going to stop, because The one thing that you cannot do, you have to know that though every step is an intentional step to make it to your ultimate goal. And it's always going to be a work in progress. There's possibilities are already the possibilities are there. You just gotta go after them. You just have to go after them. And one thing I will say, last week a pastor said something that was very impactful that really sat with me, and he gave the analogy of the mirror and the window.
I don't know this.
So when you're looking in the mirror, a lot of times you say, okay, say something positive about yourself. Oh, I look beautiful. I'm this, looking for those positives. But many times when we look in the mirror, we see flaws. This is not right. Oh, my hair is not done. Oh, this is, things we want to fix. So he said, stop looking in the mirror, because when you're looking in the mirror, you're looking at the same thing that's been in front of you the whole time. All you see is that reflection of what you see. You're not seeing any movement. You're looking in your rearview mirror pretty much when you pull that mirror up. But use the window, because when you use the window has all your possibilities. You can't look back behind you. All you see is what's in front of you. So use the window to see your future, see where you need to be, and see where you want to go. Don't use that mirror to do so, because it's just going to reflect back what you are already seeing, what you already know. So use the window so that you explore your possibilities and look towards the future.
I like that, Candy.
Yeah.
The window of possibilities. Thank you so much.
It's that.
Thank you. Yes, and that's going to sit with me. This is going to be a clip. I know this is going to be one of the clips that I use. That window of possibility. I love it. Thank you so much. And like I said before when we met, I love your energy. I love it.
Thank you.
I do. And even though you were my supervisor and my boss at one point, and I know you had to keep a certain level, the energy you have now is totally different. It really is. I feel like I don't know what you were going through, but now I feel the positivity. I feel the energy. I feel like you looking at a window, seeing a whole bunch of possibilities, not just for your life, but for the lives of the people around you. So thank you so much for sharing.